counsel, right, for this project here with the African American Museum and Research Library. Debbie, what's your involvement in the project, and why is this so important?
Okay, so my involvement comes because I'm the president for the Palm Beach County African Diaspora Historical and Cultural Society. We didn't have a cultural society, and so our former teacher, for the three of us at least, Mr. Samuel Bruce McDonald, encouraged us to create this cultural society so that we could not only educate people about our history, but preserve it, exhibit it, and to present it in a global lens, because the diaspora is a part of our title. So it's not just about African Americans, it's about everybody who is from the African continent. And so when you look at that, you know that what we do is going to far surpass West Palm Beach County, and even Florida. So we have to stretch our arms wide, include the Caribbean, South America, everywhere where there are people who may not necessarily look like us, but we know the origin of where they come from. And so with that, our goal was to make sure that in everything else we did was to make sure we had a museum. We haven't had an African American museum in West Palm Beach. And so that was our goal, to go along with the other project that was to create a library. But with the museum, we knew we could not only do the preservation piece, but we could also do genealogy at the same time, but also have that museum space where there would be a global gathering of people.
We have a shared history in the development of Palm Beach County, and we feel that it really is deserved that we are represented in this county where we have not been represented in the past. So that's why it is so important to us. We're very passionate about our history, the African American history, the African diaspora's history here in Palm Beach County, because we as a people have been here since the 1500s in Florida, and also in Palm Beach County. We've been here for quite some time, but I have a strong feeling that I don't see and we've been excluded as far as Palm Beach history is concerned, and it is now time, it is our time to be represented in Palm Beach County's history.
The recognition of what you have experienced is everything. And for them to be able to finally get recognition for all that they have endured living in American society as part of the African diaspora it's everything. But I am so thrilled to be able to work on the side of preservation, especially for the built environment. That structure that they all went to school with and that supported that community through political elections and religious ceremonies and graduations and every other little thing that goes on in life, that building has more to tell than a lot of the people do. And so to be able to work to preserve that structure is what interests me and what drives my passion.
I want to talk about your time at Roosevelt High School. So Annie, we'll just start with you. What was it like, being there at that time? What was West Palm Beach like at that time?
Well, West Palm Beach, during my experience growing up here, was a very vibrant and exciting community of a lot of very proud people, very caring people. We were united as a people because we were segregated. We were, in a community that was a village, that we all looked out for each other. We all were close friends. We were really definitely close friends as classmates. I see my classmates today that I grew up from first grade with, and we're still close as if we were sisters and brothers. I attended the local Palmview Elementary, which was, Palmview, it is UB Kenzie now. I matriculated to Roosevelt High School, and there I had the best of friends. We had the best of old times. We had the greatest teachers. We had the greatest activities that we were involved in, and I just never missed anything outside of that. It was like my whole world. My foundation was built from this. My church friends, the people I grew up with in the neighborhood, and it was just an exciting time for me to grow up in West Palm Beach and also to be a part of the Roosevelt spirit. I just, today when I think back how great we were, we were a school that was second to none in the whole state of Florida. I mean, I like to brag about the things that we were all about and the victories that we had. We had great victories in our academics, in our vocational, in our band, and in everything that we had available to us at Roosevelt was top. It was number one. And so I'm just proud to be an alumni of Roosevelt and to continue to have that spirit within me today.
When were you there? What was the...
Well, I graduated in the class of 1960. I'm the oldest one on the panel here that graduated from Roosevelt, in the class of 1960.
Okay. Debbie, why don't you tell me about your...
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And when you
I was the
graduated?
best class.
Well, first of all, growing up in West Palm Beach was just the absolute best. There was not a better place to grow up. So whatever the negative stuff that was going on outside, our parents didn't pour into us about that. The teachers at Roosevelt did not do that. They kind of, I believe, protected us from that because they had a separate mission. And that was to mold us, to teach us, to make us the very, very best. So just like Annie said, everything revolved around school, church, and family. Everything. We had a totally intact community. We didn't need to leave our community for anything. Any type of goods or supplies, they were provided within the community. So we saw other people every now and then coming quietly, maybe in the evening, to trade or get supplies. But really, we didn't know about the separation line to separate the races. So all I can say is that we had the best school, like Annie said. The teachers quite often taught without books because the books that came in were less than adequate. They had that knowledge already, and they poured it in us into such a way that we became the vibrant human beings we are. They taught critical thinking when it wasn't that popular. Essay writing was a plus. And if you happen to look up in maybe twice or three times while you were there to get a true and false or a multiple choice, you were truly lucky. That was kind of a treat. But they pushed us for writing, pushed us for speaking, pushed us for competition. And that went from academics to sports. So we were tops in everything. When we went off to competition against the other black high schools, which they considered themselves just as good as we were, they kind of knew that Roosevelt was going to come back with the superior reps because of the way we were pushed. We didn't think we were being mistreated or anything. We looked forward to practice because whatever small thing we may have missed the previous day, we said, okay, we can get it right today. And so it was like I played in the band, and I so much wanted to sit in first chair clarinet. The guy sitting there was the tops for years. Nobody could touch him. But I'm telling you, we practiced every day. And when he finally graduated, here there was another young lady who beat me out by 1 point to get solo. But that's what we did. We had the Slide Rule Club. Who ever heard of Slide Rule Club? But that's what they pushed in us so that wherever we went, we could be that competitive and to be just as successful. When it came to sports, I can't tell you every different kind of sport you can think of, we excelled in. And outside of the usual, we had competition for badminton, right? We had competition for deck tennis. Who ever heard of a deck tennis? Croquet. And we got those sports because of the diaspora family that we were from. Those who had been living in the Caribbean or back over in Great Britain, they brought all of that with them. So we had soccer and football. And so there wasn't a time when we felt inadequate, less than. Oh, you're going here. We said, great. We're ready for it. But we prided ourselves also on the tradition that Annie talked about. That graduation was something that you worked for, you looked for. We didn't get our classrooms and rings until that March, and that was a huge ceremony. Everybody showed up to Roosevelt for every activity, whether they had children there or not. The gym was the hallmark of every activity, and it was packed to the rafters. And then by the time baccalaureate came that Sunday, and what we looked forward to, if we had a chance to hear the class practice, was coming in on War March of the Priests, and to hear every heel click in time with the music, and then Pomp and Circumstance for the final commencement. So they poured into, we had a stellar education, stellar social life, stellar family, stellar community.
Everything.
It was absolutely the best. And to know that some other stuff was going on outside of that wasn't so pretty, I'm telling you, we had the very best people who surrounded our lives and poured into us.
You're making me want to go to Roosevelt High School. I'm gonna go back. When did you graduate?
1966, the best class ever.
Love it. Okay, Cora, tell me about your experience.
Roosevelt was a family. There were 3 communities that we lived in. But because of the schools, we came together. And being together, it united us. We became a family of the whole area. The teachers were our families. They protected us. They supported us. They guided us. They even bought clothing for us if it was necessary. Because we knew them in our churches, and because they knew our parents had a lot of confidence in the teachers. The teachers had a lot of confidence with the parents, because if the parents and the teachers got together, we knew that we were going to have to straighten up and walk straight. I remember the first day that I came to Roosevelt and stepped on the campus. An upperclassman came to me, and I did not know her because she was in the 11th grade. I was in the 7th grade at that time. She came up to me and she just hugged me and said, "Welcome. You're going to have a good time here. We are going to take care of you." I'll never forget that. And they not only did it for me, they did it for the other 7th graders that came on. It was very important that we felt a part of things. And it was very important to them that they let us know that we were welcome to be there. I think about our instructors who were also co-parents. I even think about our principal, Mr. Sayers. I don't believe I heard Mr. Sayers say in a run of a week, probably 100 words. Everybody respected him. All he had to do was look at the boys and look down at their at their shirt. If it was hanging out, they knew that they were supposed to put it in. If he looked at the girls and we didn't have socks or whatever on or stockings on, he was, and we knew what he meant. He would walk that campus with his hand behind his back. He would walk slowly, and he didn't have to say a word to anybody. Everybody got together and did what they knew that they were supposed to do. There was nobody skipping class because you wanted to be there, because the teachers there, they were like parents to us. They would make sure that we had the different things that we needed if we didn't have paper or pen. And they didn't grumble. There was one teacher I had bought me a set of encyclopedias, and I thought that was just awesome. And now I think, who would do that today? So Roosevelt to us was really a gathering of friends, loved ones, and a sharing of kindness. I don't even ever remember. We had dean girls,
deans and boys
for the boys. I don't ever remember any of the girls or boys getting paddled for fighting each other. They may have gotten paddled for something else, but not for that. And then all of the things that we had cosmetology, for occupational schooling
careers.
for the girls who wanted to become beauticians. We had brick making. We had masonry. That's the brick making. And then we also had
Auto mechanics.
auto mechanic.
Auto body.
We had
Auto body.
carpentry, and we had all of that for the guys. So
Skills.
when they graduated, they had a skill. They had a skill, and they could make a living doing all those kinds of things. So it was, even to the point where in the afternoons there wasn't a lot of places that we could go, but once a week on Tuesday we had teen time where we could come and have dances, and it was supervised because the teachers were there and they made sure that we stayed in our places. So they counseled us, so we felt safe. These were our friends. They were our second mothers and dads that was there. We could go to them and we could talk to them. And they knew us so well that they knew when there was something on our mind. They knew when there was something going on. And they would say to us, I want to talk to you after class. And then we'd go to them and they would say, now what's wrong? Tell me what's the problem? I remember I had an issue once. We were having a special event where we all had to dress, and it was like a carnival kind of thing, and I didn't have my outfit. And so I guess I was looking sad or whatever, and the teacher came to me and said, what's the problem? And I said, I want to be a part of the activity, but I don't have money to purchase my skirt. She said, oh, honey, don't worry about that. You have your skirt. And I had my skirt. So it was that, and then you felt comfortable, and you wanted to make them proud because of all of the things that they were doing. You wanted to do your best there. And we did. We had patrols. I was safety patrol. I was a cheerleader. I was in the glee club. There was a lot of things that was going on to keep us busy and to keep us occupied and to make us want to continue to be there. Even our school song, it was a prayer. And that prayer was developed by our music teacher, Mrs. Gillum. Dear Roosevelt, how we love you, thy name we adore. With all our hearts, we
Pledge our love now and forevermore. Forevermore.
Dear Roosevelt, we'll love you.
Yeah.
Your name will ever revere.
That's right.
So everything was just cohesive. Even the community around us supported us. The little stores that was there, the mom and shops that was there, they supported Roosevelt. The churches supported our school. It was really just an awesome place to be.
When did you graduate?
I graduated in 1965. She's a baby.
Roosevelt was such an integral part of your life growing up. It was, much more than a school. What does it mean to you that this is where this museum is going to go now? Yeah.
Well, it means an awful lot. Roosevelt was the heart of our community. It was for our social gathering. It was everything that we really had a place. It was a place where, and it gave us space for all of the things that we wanted to do and to be about. So as a result, and now it was without a doubt the only place that we knew that we wanted to. It's the last institution, as a matter of fact, of our education here in Palm Beach County. And it was so important to us now that it would remain as a legacy to us. So that spot, Roosevelt High School, is without a doubt the only place that we would want to see our stories told, our legacies left for future generations to know the accomplishments and the contributions that we've left to this community. And so that's why Roosevelt is so important to me, that Roosevelt High School is the facility where our museum will rest. Our stories will be there.
You know, it's been 56 years
Right.
since the last class graduated there. That was 1970. And the building sat there first as a middle school for a couple of years, and then it became empty, and then a full-service center, and they shut that down. So the building has sat there, and as we dreamed about it, from what it used to be, it just broke our hearts to see it continue to deteriorate there on the corner. And as it did, the community, the neighborhoods began to change with people moving in, and they didn't understand why that building was still standing there. Somebody just should tear it down, demolish it, you know, just rather than see it sit there and start to crumble. And so therefore they didn't know the history. And so just like Cora and Charlene and Annie have said, you know, if you don't preserve that history, it will be forgotten, it will be lost. And so this is the perfect opportunity for us to not only revive that whole sense of family and love and education that sits there within those walls. As Charlene said, there are stories that if you walk in and just close your eyes, you can hear the whispers of those stories. You can see the teachers. And so for us to be able to have that whole corner, which was really Roosevelt Park first, until they started building. They started the building in late 1947. But that was the second black high school we had. The first black high school was where UB Kinsey sits. That was Industrial High School, built in 1917. And so that served all of South Florida until the other major cities started to build schools that went to 12th grade. But by the time Roosevelt opened, in the community, we would just dream, sitting in the car with our parents riding back. Oh gosh, I'm in 6th grade. Oh, 7th grade's coming. We can go to the big school. We can go to the high school. We can be there with the upperclassmen. But we did get to go there for activities because whatever was happening, the families, they brought the whole family with them. So therefore, the children knew what the expectations were. And so from that, if there was something going on at one of the HBCUs, the historically black colleges, and your parents not only took their children, took us, but we always had 1 or 2 other children. So we knew what to expect beyond Roosevelt. But Roosevelt was just the hallmark of everything. And when I talk about an intact community, not only the businesses, everything that kept us together as a family, as a people, we look at what the education was. Because right there in that whole center, aside from UB Kinsey Palm View, we had Roosevelt Elementary, which was just like a block down the street. And that went from grades 1 through 6. And then Roosevelt Junior High School did 7 through 12. But we also had Roosevelt Junior College, which sat where the track field is today for Roosevelt Middle School. And so when they finally did decide that Roosevelt High School, our Roosevelt, wouldn't be a high school anymore, they built Roosevelt Middle right there on Australian. So that was our whole intact educational arena, which did not isolate UB Kinsey Palm View. Now, we also had like a Pleasant City Elementary because the numbers of people who were coming into the schools, it just overwhelmed the buildings that were there. And so by the time industrial just became to the point where they couldn't get anybody else in. They were having classes in what they called the cafetorium, the auditorium cafetorium, because the students were coming up from Miami, because Booker T wasn't built till 1926. And they were coming up from Fort Lauderdale, and they were coming from all of South Palm Beach County, Delray, and from Belgrade, because they didn't get a high school until the 1940s. So industrial was everything, and all that transferred over to Roosevelt. So all of our glory, all of our excellence, all of our achievement and accomplishments, that had already been rooted in that foundation at industrial. So by the time we got to Roosevelt, everything was intact. When it came to the first graduation, for a couple of years, they rotated graduation either at the historic Tabernacle Baptist Church and at Payne Chapel. So each year, commencement was at one church, baccalaureate was at the other one, and they rotated until everything was finished at Roosevelt so that all those activities could be held. And so and we would see the teachers, and somehow the parents and the teachers and all, they see us, and we would get congratulated. We heard how well you did. We heard you made the honor roll. Keep it up. And so all of that encouragement just kept pushing us. We didn't have the misbehavior and the disrespect. That didn't go on in our schools. Definitely not with me. My mom was a teacher at Roosevelt, so I had to see her at home and at school, and my father was president of PTA. But that thought didn't cross our mind. We had too much to do, too much to be involved in, too much to excel in. And so we thought, well, we can't go to the football game until we get our first report cards, which had to have A's and B's. So we said, okay, we'll join the band, since the band plays at the game, so we'll get to go to the football games early. And that did not fly with our parents. We had to still wait till that first report card came out. So excellence, achievement, accomplishments, and then as the graduates would come back, those who had graduated, we look forward to seeing them because they talked to us, encouraged us, and so we look forward to doing what they were doing. They were in college, out of college, with jobs. So I can't tell you how much that educational institution filled every part of our being and who we are and how we became who we are. Yeah. It was what the parents wanted. They knew what their foundation was. And from the time that they knew that they could have an education, which of course you know that was denied for many years, they made sure they pushed that. Education was the nucleus.
And you know what? The built environment holds our stories. It contains a community's personality, right? Mm-hmm. South Florida is more than just beautiful beach. We are beautiful beaches now, absolutely. But we're more than that. And when people come down to visit, they want to know what more we are. So preserving our structures helps us to preserve our personality. Otherwise, if you tear everything down and build new, then why come here? There are beaches all along the coast. Built environment holds our stories and holds our personality. And so when you can hear stories like these, you get a sense of who the people were who established this community. And it makes you want to come back. It sounds like, I mean, we all want to go to Roosevelt now. You know, it sounds like a great place to be. And it's important to maintain those. I talk to people all the time about when you travel, when you go to different countries, where do you go? You want to go see the monuments. You want to go to see the structures that have been preserved in those countries. South Florida is preserving our structures as well. We're young, comparatively speaking, but we have to start now so that future generations will have some place to come and learn about who we are as a people here in South Florida.
Right.
Hopefully who we are and not just who we were.
Yeah, we're looking forward to when this museum and research lab, there's a research library, which Ms. Annie hasn't talked about yet, but when it's completed, it will have that ooh-ah effect. Yes. When you get to the corner of L.A. Curtsey and Tamron, you say, oh, I've got to go in there. Yes. And then to think that from where we came with libraries, our first library was actually within the St. Patrick's Episcopal Church on 4th and Sapodilla. And then our second library, Phyllis Wheatley branch, was on Tamron, a few blocks down from Roosevelt. But Annie's going to talk about the other library that we really, really looking forward to.
Tell me about it.
Well, it's going to be there to provide information for scholars, to enhance the education of our students and our teachers and of the public, in order that they will be represented, that our history will be represented there. And it's going to make quite a difference in the lives of all the people that's going to be in West Palm Beach or that will be visiting our area to learn more about who we are, where we came from, who we are as a people, from our own perspective. It will not, it's going to be available for people to hear our stories of who we are, where we came from, We're hoping that our young people will have a sense of pride and a sense of belonging here that many of them do not now have that sense of belonging. So the library will be a place for them, it will be a safe place for them to come and to explore and to learn and to see exhibits and a lot of things that's going to be there in the library for our people and for other people as well to learn about the shared stories that existed and that have existed here for a long time. You know, we go back a long way to the Black Seminoles who were here. That's a history that hasn't been told. It's not talked about an awful lot. So we hope to bring all of that information in the library where the public will be knowledgeable about that type of stories that they have not heard about. So the library is going to be an exciting place for people to visit, for our communities, our children in our communities to learn and have all type of activities that will make them proud of who they are as people.
Charlene, what do you ultimately hope people take away from a visit to the museum and the library once it's open?
First of all, the beauty of the building is going to be impactful, and we're so excited about it. It's going to be a beautiful building. But once they get in there, they view the exhibitions, they get a chance to visit the library, learn a little bit about the people who are instrumental in creating the community in which we live. What I'm hoping that visitors get is a sense of place and a feeling that this is some place that they can visit continuously, that they will actually plan trips from whatever part of the country they are in to Palm Beach County specifically to visit this museum, that they know that each time they come, just like when we read a book, we read it in high school, we learn a little bit. We read it again in our 20s, we reread things we hadn't really realized before. Read it again in your 40s and your 60s, because you learn something every time you read it.
Absolutely.
And every time they come to this museum, they will get a new experience, they will learn something new, and hopefully they will get a sense of connectedness with Palm Beach County.
Absolutely.
And that's what we want. We want
Yes.
people to connect with Palm Beach County and want to be here.
Yeah.
Ladies, is there anything any of you would like to say to just wrap this all up? I could talk to you for hours, but is there anything that we didn't mention that any of you just want to mention before we?
Well, we would like for everybody who's watching this to know that there were so many other people who heard our story and decided, hey, we've got to support them, we've got to help them. We cannot give enough props to our former county administrator, Virginia Baker, who jumped on this right away, and of course, our Dr. Debbye Robinson, who served 22 years on the school board, who all of those 22 years advocated for the renovation of Roosevelt for the museum and the library. Those two individuals, along with Mr. McDonald, Miss Emilia Hudnell, who has such a famous exhibit that's been not only all over Palm Beach County, but outside of Palm Beach County, and her exhibit will be in the library. So we've had so many people to come on board, but especially our thanks go to our county commissioner at the time, Mac Bernard, and at the time it was our Senator Bobby Powell who advocated for us. But we cannot thank enough the Community Foundation, Palm Beach and Martin County.
Absolutely.
We are so thrilled. And while Charlene has sat here and not really said a whole lot, but she has really been the guiding force for us because she has the experience in being the executive director for Spady Museum. And so, when we knew we had this opportunity, we made sure she was on board with us because we rely on her. She has poured so much into her. So we say thank you. Thank you to all of the movers and shakers with this, and all of our donors. We cannot thank them enough.
Yeah.
And so we thank you for sharing this story so we can get it out to everybody.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes.
And the other thing that we want to say too, that we have come a long way, but we still have a long ways to go. So we hope that the community will also support this effort because this is open to everyone.
Yes.
So we hope that when the community see this, that they will hear about it, and then when they see that there's an opportunity for them to help and support, we do appreciate that. We need everybody in the game.
And I also just want to add to what they've already said is that this is a Palm Beach County library.
Yes.
It's not a library just for the city of West Palm Beach. It's in the city of West Palm Beach. But the history of the entire county will be a part of this library. Our history goes from the sticks in Palm Beach, that is east, as far as the Glades, and as far south as Boca Raton to Pearl City, and as far north to Jupiter. So all of those areas are going to be included in this county, in this library, because it's going to be a county library. And as they've said, we really want to encourage everybody in all of those areas to continue to support, to make sure that they are saving their collections as a part of the museum and as a part of the library, because we will be reaching out to them as we continue to move forward to make sure that everyone is involved and that they're engaged in this project. So they've already said everything in terms of thanking those who are supporting us, and we're just hoping that the entire community in the future will get on board, get engaged with us, and also support us, because we're going to need that support.
Right.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank
That
you.
was wonderful. It was so nice chatting with all of you.
We thank you for this opportunity.
Yes,
Of course.
yes,
It's my
absolutely.
pleasure. I'm
Yes.
so happy to be here. I know. Thank you. Just listen to their stories. We're like, I know.